you are the leaders of tomorrow. And then one day I woke up and realized, well, tomorrow is not still going to be tomorrow. Tomorrow's starting today, and I need to start stepping up. And I need to
Yeah.
start supporting those around me to step up, because a generation of leaders of the church is, reality speaking, dying out, and who's going to take over?
And I want to know what you know about the Alpha generation.
So what I know about them is still very limited, but they're literally the generation that comes after the Gen Z. Now the generation Z is social media frenzied, but the Alpha generation are the kids that are now putting their phones down because they're over it. That's all they know. So there's something new is face to face. Yep.
Okay, random question. You
Mm.
you chose to sit here, therefore you chose your background. Therefore, I'm asking about the stuffed animals on the shelf. What is going on with the stuffed animals on the shelf?
So I'm actually in my friend's house because her Wi-Fi is better, and this is her baby room. But I do have my own stuffed animal that I have to keep with me. So I'm a teddy bear person. I'm 27 and I still love teddy bears. So we'll
Nothing
put
wrong with
Sam
that.
here. We'll put Sam here next to me because yeah, he's the newest
Okay,
collection.
let me take a risk and just say, first of all, if somebody's listening to this by audio and you said teddy bear, you're obviously holding what looks like a large stuffed elephant to me. Am I remembering correctly? I'm going to butcher this, but in Afrikaans is elephant olifant.
Yep, it's really fun.
I did it. I
Yes, well
remember
done.
a word in Afrikaans from my childhood.
Yeah, that's what we've got here.
And isn't there a river? Isn't there an Olifants River and it like borders with, is it border with Kruger?
Yeah, so it's actually close to my hometown of Groblersdal, and it flows through the Olifants, but it's one of the big rivers that flow into the Kruger as well.
Okay, so you're at your friend's house and you brought your large stuffed elephant with you.
Yeah,
Was I supposed to bring a large stuffed animal with me? You know what? Hold on a second.
I love this.
It's it's like we planned this, but we didn't. Hold on one second. I was up in the attic the other day, and I brought this down because we gave this to my son for one of his birthdays when he was little. But it's a large stuffed shark here. I'm not sure which variety this is, but elephant versus shark, score that. I don't know.
We see this. We're gonna see this. Yeah.
Okay, I have a shark, you have an elephant, and we didn't plan this, but it's going swimmingly.
Yes.
Okay, tell me about Sam. Let's just start there before we learn about the real human being on the Zoom call named Shannon. Tell me about
Yeah.
Sam. What's the backstory?
So I live 300, about 300 kilometers away from my parents. I live in Van der Bijl Park, which is on the Vaal River. And like I said, my parents live in Groblersdal, which is close to the Olifants. It's in Limpopo, and I'm in Gauteng. And about 3 weeks ago, I was at home for the first time since January. And my
Mm.
dad and I went shopping because he's worried about me freezing because it's kind of cold. Groblersdal doesn't get cold. My dad's a pastor there, and he always jokes and says he doesn't preach about the hell because hell's just, it sounds like a vacation, heat wise. Um, so any moment I come from Gauteng, he's worried about me freezing, and he saw this elephant, and I've got a thing with stuffed animals. Like I said, I'm
Yeah.
27 and I still freak out. And he bought me the stuffed animal, and I'm a major Lord of the Rings fan. It's
Oh.
something my dad and I did. Yeah, something we bonded on after his cancer and during his cancer.
Uh-huh.
And so I've got a Bilbo bunny, I've got a Frodo elephant, and now I've got Samwise Gamgee the
Oh,
elephant.
there's the
Yeah.
name. Well, and there are
Yep.
elephants in the Lord of the Rings saga, but they're
Yep.
like big warrior type elephants with a long tusk.
Yes. And they're also called Olifante because J.R.R. Tolkien was born in Bloem, yeah, in South Africa.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Wow, look at all the connections. See, this is why I asked the questions. This is why I was like, I just want to get to know you. This random stuff that just kind of comes out. I love it.
Yep.
This is the fun stuff. Um, there's do they have Prime, Amazon Prime in South Africa? Do you guys have a version of that and access to it for like
Yeah,
TV watching streaming?
we can subscribe to it, but we don't have the full package.
Yeah,
The US keeps their own shows to themselves.
stinking Bezos. Why can't my son worked for Amazon at the warehouse here? He just graduated high school, and he yesterday was his last day being a cog in Bezos'
Wow.
machine over at the Amazon warehouse here where we live. And I mean, it was his last day. I could have had him talk to somebody while he was working the assembly line and be like, "Hey, Shannon, South Africa, she needs full
No,
access to Prime. Can we hook that up, please?"
yeah, you should have, but it is what it is.
Sorry, day late, a dollar short, they say. Um, so have you seen? My wife just showed me this the other day. I'd heard about it, but I didn't know it was so soon. It's coming up. They're doing a Middle Earth series on Prime.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm geeking out and nerding out. A friend of mine, we've been sending memes and images, and we can't wait for it to come out. So we're waiting. We're
Oh,
there.
it's on your radar. You're excited. When's it supposed to debut?
The 22nd of September next year.
Oh, we're still like almost a year and a half away.
Yep.
Okay. I mean, we've got things to do, so the time should pass pretty quickly, but that seems just like a really long time. I'm a
Yes.
I'm a Mandalorian fan, big Boba Fett fan since I was a little kid
Okay.
on the Disney Plus, and so I'm excited for the book of Boba Fett to be coming out this November, December, here in the U.S.
Oh,
anyway. Really excited. There's actually a friend of mine from church and we went to college together, and we both are kind of Star Wars fanboys. And so we did a podcast on the second season of The Mandalorian together every week for 8 weeks. That like four people participated and watched and streamed, but Steve and I had a fantastic time talking about Star Wars every Sunday night together for 2 months. So I don't regret it at all, and we're probably going to do it again this year. So I nerd out on that stuff big time. Like I get way into it. I'll have to be talking with you about the Lord of the Rings. I want to know more about that and your obsession with that.
oh, we can definitely go into that. I actually,
Okay.
with Star Wars, I challenged a friend of mine. He challenged me. I'd never watched Star Wars. So I had to watch all 9 movies. And I made him watch the extended version of Lord of the Rings. And so that's created quite a few debates.
So did you watch all of the Star Wars movies or the originals?
The 9 episode movies, I haven't watched any of the series. Like, I haven't watched The Mandalorian. I know of it, but I haven't watched the spin offs. I've only watched the episode movies. Yeah.
Episode movies. Okay. So not like Han Solo or Rogue One or like any of those.
Not yet, no. But
Okay.
I have another friend that's the next saga we're gonna go into.
And how did you find the Star Wars, the 9 episodes? What was your take on that?
I had some very weird questions, and then I learned that some of those questions you shouldn't answer or shouldn't ask unless you're prepared to sit through a 3 hour lecture. Um, but it was good. It comparing it to Lord of the Rings though, yeah, no.
I don't know. They're different. They're different fantasy. Like I don't even know universes. They're different dimensions of
They are.
of fantasy, and one's coming from literature and to the big screen, and the other one is coming from the big screen and turns into like fan literature.
Mm, it is so.
So
So
yeah,
the origin changes, but I appreciated the storyboard. The technology for the look. I looked at it also from that point of view, from like how did they do this with the technology available to them
I
at that
know.
time. That
Yeah,
blew me. That was quite cool. And of course,
yeah.
I mean, the music. You've got Hans Zimmer and you've got um what
John Williams,
Howard Shaw, and it's just like yeah.
good stuff.
I know it.
So I was born in 1977. That's the first year that the first Star Wars movie came out. There's no overlap or significance to that except for what I project into it. However, I had Star Wars action figures as a little guy from, whenever I was began to play with toys like that, until I was 7, 8, 9. Before we moved to South Africa in 1985, in our yard sale, my mom sold all of our Star Wars toys. We kept the GI Joes, brought them to South Africa, but I had not seen a Star Wars movie until I was living in Johannesburg, and we were staying with another missionary couple there. And it was actually the Huffs. I don't know if you ever met the Huffs, but it was Fred Huff and his family, and Shane Huff was the guy I was hanging out with. And they had a VCR, and people were sending them VHS tapes from the US. And I watched the original Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi all at his house in South Africa, in Johannesburg, when I was like 8, 9 years old. So
Wow.
Star Wars, South Africa connected for me.
It makes sense now.
Yeah. That has no bearing on your life whatsoever and has nothing to do with Lord of the Rings. And I'm a little embarrassed that I shared it because it's not about you, Shannon, and I want to know about you. Remind me of just kind of where you shared a little bit earlier, but geographically where you live in South Africa and where you've grown up and where you're at, what you've done as far as school goes, and kind of with work and calling on your life and everything, where are you at? So kind of like Shannon life story. Give it to me in any way that you want to. It can be in order or out of order. I just want you to share your story.
Okay. So